Are we good? I'm just going to start it off. Cheers. Thanks, Paul, for doing this interview.
No, it's my
very,
pleasure.
very excited. So I just want to let you, give you an idea of why I'm doing this video is I am highly inspired by you.
Thank you.
And I am starting an interview series for people that inspire me. And I want to find out their whys in life, why they do what they do, and if there's any sort of crossroad or path and why they've taken that path. So I just want to pass it over to you so people can, you know, get a little bit of information about what you do, and then I'll go from there.
Excellent. Okay. Well, my name is Paul Buceta, and I'm a photographer, a fitness and glamour photographer, and I have the production studio I work with very closely, and yeah, I don't know even how else to describe it. I'm just always so busy. I don't even know what I'm doing now.
And that's why I thank you for taking your time out. Thank you. And I just, also another reason why I want to do this interview with you is because I am an introvert.
Okay.
And when we did the photo shoot, you were able to pull me out of my comfort zone and get some pictures that when I looked at them, I'm like, what the, oh my God. It was actually, yeah, it was amazing how it was just so natural for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, it was just absolutely amazing. So I wanted to thank you for that because there's some great pictures and I'm putting them to great use. So I am just going to fire off the questions for you.
Sure.
All right. So first question, what was your, what I like to call hell yes moment that you knew that you wanted to, photography was for you, basically?
Well, I was in banking for about 12 years before I ever picked up a camera. And it wasn't until I kind of left banking, and I left to get into web design. And it was when I was designing websites. And this was back, I think, even before MySpace, to give you kind of a time frame. And I needed images. So what I was doing was I had a point and shoot film camera. So I'd take pictures, go develop it, come back, scan it, and then put it up on the whatever website I was working on at the time. And so it was a trying thing. And one day I just kind of bit the bullet and bought a digital camera. Now this was garbage, a camera. Like I don't even think rechargeable batteries were invented at that time or were being used. And so I was burning through batteries like crazy. And I think the batteries were more expensive than the film, but the convenience was really nice. And then for my birthday, I got a 3-megapixel camera. And this was crazy. And I still have that camera today. And so I started taking pictures. And a friend of mine said, you know, had a girlfriend that asked if I would take some pictures of her because an agency wanted to see some recent images. Now, I knew nothing about photography. I knew that there was some decent light that comes in through the window. So I figured, okay, well, she stands by the window, I'll take a couple of headshots and, you know, here you go. I'll email you the pictures, that was a big thing back then. And so she came over, opens her suitcase, and it's all lingerie. And, you know, I look at it and I mean, I just imagine this is your situation. And I look down, I look up at him like, you're going to pose in your underwear? Like, it was a real kind of shock. I'm like, what am I going to do? I have no idea. Like, you're going to get in your underwear and I'm going to take pictures of you? Wow, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But because the website that I was working on the most at the time is to learn everything was paulbuceta.com, I asked her if I could put some of her pictures on my website. And it was a comedic blog site. And it was actually a journal at the time because the word blog I don't think even existed at that time. So I put her pictures on there. And because websites were like $20,000 a pop at the time, no local photographer anyhow, had websites. They were just too expensive. It was a new thing. And it was a lot of money to invest in this new thing at the time. So I put photographer on there and immediately I got picked up by the search engines. And next thing I know, one model after another saying, hey, would you take pictures of me? And I thought, okay. If people want to come over to my place and pose in their underwear, okay, I'm good with that. And yeah, I guess you could say that was my aha moment.
Right, right. That's awesome. So what is it then about the human physique that you love to capture when you're doing a photo shoot?
It's actually not even the physique. It's the moment that I aim for. I think if yeah, if the model has done their work, has been working out, dieting, exercising, and their body looks great, that's good. That just adds to the image. But what I try to do, and what separates my work from other people's work, is that I try to capture the moment. The moment is the most important thing to me. And everything else is secondary. The lighting is secondary. Even if it's a little out of focus, sometimes I love the kind of candid moment of a blurred shot. It makes it just seem more real than, everything, where everything is perfect. And so when you look at my images, you see that there's a kind of, like there's a moment, almost it's like it's between the pose, or like it's intimate or voyeuristic.
Oh, that is so beautiful, because it reminds me of music and musicians, and they say it's not really so much about the music itself. It's those moments in between. Right. And that's too, when, if in retrospect, if I'm thinking about the photo shoot and then those moments where like you're in the moment, you can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just such a comfortable thing. That's so cool. So what is your definition of beauty?
Well, that's interesting, because a lot of people, they say, oh man, how do you do it? All these beautiful women and all this. And I said, well, the funny thing is, a pretty face is just another day at the office, kind of, so to speak. Here's an analogy, and I use this one quite a bit. It's kind of like the DJ at a strip club. He says, put your hands together for our next dancer. And he's back on his Facebook. He's not even looking at the stage. So after a while, right, you get over the beauty. And what I find truly beauty for me is a personality. And that's, and I this is such a subjective term, but let's say the personality that suits mine. The one when you meet someone and you mesh and you're like, oh, okay, this is good people. And that for me is real beauty.
Yeah, but you have also the ability to, because you're so enthusiastic and your energy is so contagious, that it's like a mirror, right? You can't help but pull that other person into your energy too.
Well, this is a trade secret that I'm going to let out here. Well, it's not even a trade secret. It's not even a trade secret, but it's something that I do. When it comes to photography, I say I'm more of a psychologist. No, that's not the right term. I don't know. It's more about the psychology than it is about the photography. And I'll give you an example. And as you know, we've done this. If I said to you, and I take my camera and I say, okay, now laugh hysterically for me, it would be a very hard thing to do. But if I say, okay, we're going to laugh hysterically. Okay, and I start laughing and say, well, now it's easy because you're doing it, I'm doing it. It's easy. Now it's common. It's accepted behavior. But if I said, okay, now look really sexy into the camera, you go, what? Like, this is awkward now.
Yeah.
I'm very self-conscious of myself. But if I said, okay, give me a little bit more like this, and I start kind of throwing myself into it, I can't believe I just did this on camera, but if I say, do this, and you say, oh, well, he did it, so I can do it. And so a lot of the poses you see on my Instagram, I do them first.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that a photo shoot can empower people?
Well, absolutely. And this is one thing, and I have this kind of, it's not even an argument, I have this discussion with a lot of people because, everyone's saying, well, I want to be more conservative. I don't want to be so sexy, so racy. And I more than respect that. I encourage that, in fact. However, what I do say is you don't have to share all your pictures. You can be very selective with what you share. You could do very conservative, very, grandma friendly. And then you could do stuff like, I can't post this on the internet. But everyone deserves the opportunity to look as beautiful as they can. And that's my skill set, is that I can, and even without Photoshop, transform someone in their personality, in the way they project themselves, into looking like, I don't know, like a supermodel. Like it just,
Right.
and it's a skill set that, you know, I've developed over the last 15 years. And more so than just being able to take a picture, because I could put a camera on a tripod, lock it down, get that perfect focus, spend hours on the lighting and reflectors and diffusers and the gels and get everything just perfect and say, okay, give me a sexy pose and click. And the picture is only ever going to be as good as the model is prepared to give me. But my skill set kicks in, and then I pull stuff out from them that they weren't expecting to give. They know they want those pictures because they've seen my Instagram, and they said, I want to look like them. And yeah, and that's what I could do. I forgot what the question was now. Oh yeah, about empowerment. So when you see yourself looking that good and feeling that comfortable and that beautiful, I have to imagine, and I've heard a lot of people say, and oftentimes I'll show people, before I show the camera, I'm like, okay, no tears. And I show the camera because a lot of people, a lot of models I shoot, they start crying. They say, I can't believe that's me. And that is absolutely empowering. That is a great feeling. And it's actually, for me, one of the most gratifying parts of what I do is when I get that kind of emotion from the model saying, I can't believe that's me. And that for me is, that's what makes my job the most interesting, I think.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I know, just to kind of, when I did it, I'm like a tomboy and always in gym gear. It's what I do. It's my lifestyle. Yeah. So, you know, branching out and seeing those pictures and taking myself out of that comfort level, and then seeing those pictures, it was like, wow, it really kind of grasped that feminine aspect, which is such a beautiful thing if we don't use it every day. And it's a gift. It's a gift.
Thank you. I appreciate
it.
I am a gift.
So do you work out? Are you?
A little bit. And last week I started something, and I'm going to be doing a video about this. I'm not ready for it yet, but I'll give you the inside scoop, let's say. I just started hypnosis treatments. I mean,
very cool.
Oh, you have no idea. Okay, so I studied this back in the day. I did go to university for a bit. I didn't finish. And I studied hypnosis, and I wanted to actually, this is before, like, internet has just kind of started coming out, and I mean, everything was DOS-based. There was no mouse at the time. That's how young internet was at that time. And I wanted to be one of those hypnotists that traveled, you know, from bar to bar doing the shows, and, you know, and so I learned a lot about hypnosis, and I thought, this is an amazing, amazing tool. And so when I spoke to this, I want to make sure I don't get the title wrong, because she told me she's not a hypnotherapist. She is anyhow, when I spoke to my hypnotist, I just don't want to get her title wrong. When I spoke to her, she asked me what I wanted from it, and having known enough, I said, okay, we all know what we should do to improve. And this is getting to the working out part. We all know what we should do to improve. What I want my hypnosis to do is to change what I know I should do into what I want to do. So think about that for a second. We all know we should go to the gym a little more. We should eat a little bit better. We should do all these little things. So I want to turn, and I gave her a list of 2 little things. I said that I want to change from a should to a want. And one is I want to be motivated to work out. I want to say, okay, maybe I should just go work out right now. Like, I want to feel that way all the time. And the other one is I want to eat healthier. So when, you know, I have a Big Mac on one hand and an asparagus in the other hand, I want to choose the asparagus. I don't want it to be what I should choose. I want it to be what I want to choose. So those 2 little things. And I tell you, it's been incredible. I wake up, I'm like, I think I'll get a workout in before I hit the shower. And, you know, and I never, ever do that. So I've just started it. So there's nothing really to show because I literally just got back from Texas, but it's working, and I'm motivated to do all these things. And I was going to wait to do the reveal about this whole hypnosis thing, but you know, it's incredible what it can do. And I've been feeling so good that literally I've cut 2 things from my diet: fat burners and Coca-Cola. So no more caffeine. All this is now just going to be me. That's it.
Well, I was going to ask you, did you have a coffee this morning, or do you even drink coffee?
No, I don't drink coffee.
No. That just amazing. How many hypnotherapy sessions?
I had one session, and then what she did is she made 2 recordings for me to listen to before I go to bed or when I wake up in the morning, and it's fantastic. It actually, and I've called her afterwards. I said, I feel kind of guilty because I think I'm falling asleep through something. She goes, no, that's perfect. It doesn't matter. The thought is getting in there. It doesn't matter even if you're sleeping. But even though, is that on your end?
What? Nothing's on my end. What?
Oh, it's one of my neighbors or something. There's a beeping. Anyhow, so I call her, I said, I think I'm falling asleep. And she says, no, it's working. Don't worry about it. And I said, well, how do you know? And she says, don't worry. Well, this is how it works. But then I think about it. At the end of every session, she says, and you're refreshed and whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I guess the session is over. And I take the headphones. So I'm not actually asleep. I just feel like I'm asleep. So it's working so well. It's so exciting. And, I don't want to tell everyone to run out and do this just yet, but I think it's going to change my life for the better, to work out more anyhow.
Right. Well, you know what? It starts from the inside out, and it sounds like you're going deep. You're going to
I'm going
the deepest levels, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
I can't wait to hear more about that.
Sorry?
I said I can't wait to hear more about that.
Yeah.
And how it works for you. Yeah. I'm intrigued by therapy, any sort of energy work, anything like that. So I'm just going to jump to a couple of fun questions, which I actually got off the Actor Studio because it's such, I love that show. Where did I put the questions here?
Kill and marry? What? One of those?
Okay, so if you had the opportunity to meet somebody who inspires you, could be living or dead, who would it be?
I've always been a huge fan of Gandhi. I
have his birthday.
Oh, congratulations! Amazing.
Yes.
I think what he did was absolutely incredible, and he literally overthrew a government just by taking away necessity. They call it passive resistance. I go one step further, saying, when you take away someone's incentive, they just no longer behave a certain way, and that's all he did. He said, you know what, we're not going to give England profit. We're not going to make it worth their while. We're going to sour the milk, so to speak, and that's all he did. Just with non-participation, and overthrew a whole government. Just by saying, I'm just not going to participate anymore. And I thought that's just such a great way to do things. And because it's honorable, and I don't know. Anyhow, and he lived it. He made his own clothes, and just so that he wouldn't buy, clothes from the English textile factories and that. Anyhow, it's just fascinating. And I'd love to meet him, or would have loved to.
Yeah. Have you read his book?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God.
I saw the movie.
You don't have time to read his book. Let's face it. It's like 800 pages, but it's like, he is inspiring. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And last question, which is my ultimate favorite. So if heaven exists, what would you want to hear at the pearly gates when you arrive?
Let's just assume that I'm going to get there. I'm going, you know what? Okay. My favorite music, I love opera. I love to crank it. I never crank it at the studio because it's kind of a bit of a buzzkill. I love opera. And on a good day, it could bring me to tears. I just love it. But if I'm going to heaven, I want to hear electronic dance music because I just want it to be a party all the time. I want Vegas to be. I want heaven to be like Vegas, just like this all the time.
So when you die, you want to be in Vegas when you die, right?
That's probably where it's going to happen anyhow.
Right. Amazing. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you. And you know what? Just thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're super busy. When did you get back from Texas?
Saturday night. I took yesterday off. Had a little nice quiet day for me, and And now, today I'm back at it. I was actually, my hands are a little dirty. I was just doing some plumbing for one of the tenants next door.
That's well great.
Yeah, so I gotta get back to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And good luck on your journey with your hypnosis.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Bye now.